Welcome to the show with no name for Friday, May 24th, 2013. I'm Bob Going with Jim Nikosha. Gavin has missed the broadcast for the second time.
Uh-oh.
In 2.5 years.
In 2.5 years. That's remarkable.
Should we can him? Give him the axe, give him the heave-ho? But how can we do that and still keep Michael on the show?
Yeah, that's...
Michael Shire, of course, is the co-host of this program. Jim is just a guest.
I'm just a guest.
Gavin's just a guest. Michael's the co-host. He hasn't appeared since September of 2011.
I'm just a guest. What would have happened today if I didn't show?
Well, there'd been no show.
Oh,
or I would have been just sitting here talking to the camera. I've done that before. But not broadcasted. I did an interesting thing the other day from the Fulton studio here at Casa Bob. Some years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I posted Sister Anna Roberta's Latin declension song on YouTube. Now, at the time I had a new laptop computer, and it was the first one I had that had the camera built into it.
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah.
So I had to try it out. I had to try out the camera. So I'm sitting in my office down on Market Street, and I happen to have a copy of the Latin declension song from high school, and I just ran through it on YouTube, recorded it.
Before you go in, what is the Latin declension?
Well, it's a mnemonic thing, sort of. It's a song that we used to sing every day in Latin class till it's just burned into your head, so that you learn the declension endings so you can understand and translate the Latin language into English.
Okay.
And vice versa. It begins, now in Latin, there are only 5 declensions. All the endings you must memorize and say. A is for the nominative. A
What's a
genitive.
declension? For us
I don't know.
Non-scholars.
I don't know. Please don't expect me to be a teacher.
But you're saying these words.
You got to understand. This was 47 years ago. I took Latin 1. Okay. I did good. I did well. But
you expect me to understand what you're
No,
talking?
I don't expect.
You don't care.
No, because I don't expect you. I don't expect anybody to understand it. It's just preliminary to what I'm about to tell you, so you understand what I'm about to tell you. So anyway, so I post this thing on YouTube just as a lark. It's got like 47,000 hits.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. Latin. I hear from Latin teachers and Latin students all the time, all around the country, some around the world.
Making comments about this?
Yes, they love it. They love it. And in certain Latin classes, apparently I'm a celebrity. Yeah. They think I'm like the greatest Latin teacher of all time. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just reading the. So anyway.
You might get an honorary degree.
So anyway, I get this email from a Latin student out in Illinois, and he wants to do a year-end project, and he doesn't want to impose on my time or celebrity.
Oh.
Okay. But he asked if I would help him do a video, and the premise of it is he redoes the Latin declension song. All right, he sings it himself on the video, and while he's doing it, he gets a phone call, and he picks up the phone. Then he says, "Oh, it's one of my friends. He wants to help me with the song." All right, okay, you can do the second declension. And then it comes over to me, and I'm hanging up the phone and saying, "Gee, thanks," and I sing the second. So the thing is, when the kids and the teachers see this, they're going to go bananas, because this kid managed to contact this great celebrity Latin teacher and help him with his homework. That was great. So I did it. It's like I did 2 cuts. I did the first cut, because it had some dialogue with it, runs about 45 seconds, and the second one runs about 15 or 20 seconds. And so I sent him to them. He's thrilled. He's going to get an A.
So you will probably be get an honorary degree.
I will probably get an honorary degree from a school in Illinois. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I may be invited to give their commencement address or something.
Okay. Speaking of
celebrity is an elusive thing.
Speaking of commencement addresses, I went to a This is the second time I've gone to well, not the second time, but the second time that I've heard a speaker at a commencement exercise where all they talked about was themselves. This is a famous guy, very knowledgeable, a Nobel laureate. He spoke for probably 10 or 15 minutes or longer. And I think there was one sentence that pertained to the graduates. Everything else was how his grandparents came to this country and they did this, they did that. He was a doctor, she was a doctor. You know, which is okay, except what did this have to do with these students other than to say,
work hard.
Except that I started from the bottom and
Right.
I reached the top. And this is the second time this has gone. This happened up in Rochester a couple of years for one of the other grandchildren.
See, I had one of those up in Rochester a few years ago when Jamie graduated at RIT.
Same thing.
And guess who it was?
Who?
Bill Clinton.
Really?
And you'd be surprised that he had mostly talked about himself.
Yeah, I don't understand.
So here he is. Now, he's an incredibly talented guy. I mean, he's a master politician. He's got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
But boy, he's got a lot of flaws. Anyway, they're introducing...
Not me.
Huh?
I don't have any flaws.
No. I said he does.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying everybody does. I said he does. One of the... one of the guys who's given an honorary degree, I don't think speaks any English. He's a Japanese billionaire who has devoted his retirement years to eliminating leprosy from the world. And when he started, there were something like 138 countries where there was leprosy. And as of the time of the address, there were like 4. Okay?
Wow.
So, I mean, this guy has really done... So all the while they're giving this guy's background and all the things he's done, Clinton is yakking it up with that billionaire Golisano who kept running for governor.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
I forget his first name. But he's big in Rochester and donates a lot of money to RIT, so he's up on the stage. And they're just laughing and joking while this is all going on. And then, of course, Clinton gets up and gives his speech, and he talks about how me and Suriaki, we've done a lot of work together. He's helped me out on my projects to do this in Africa, and da-da-da-da-da. It's always, he's helping me. This guy who's eliminated leprosy is helping both,
Yeah, helping Bill.
And at top of which he was like, there was this girl who was, I think, president of the student council or something, had given an address before him, and he's just like undressing her with his speech. Okay, seriously, he's I had a wonderful talk with Gertrude earlier. I'm making up the name, of course, and she, such a fine young woman, such a fine example for the, and you can see she's going places, and the girl's just melting on the stage.
Yeah.
Oh man! And he did I actually got him on film doing the Monica thing, where he's not that thing, but you remember when they would show footage of her greeting him when he comes back on the helicopter or something, and he'd reach around to shake hands with this one, and he'd reach around to shake hands with that one, and so that both hands are going around Monica.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with a woman in a yellow dress there.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's shameless. Which reminds me of Franklin D. Roosevelt. I bring this up because our movie of the week last week was Hyde Park on the Hudson. Very interesting movie. Bill Murray plays Franklin Roosevelt in a serious role, okay? And it takes place like in 1937, 38, before the war. And the King and Queen of England are making the first visit to the United States ever by a British monarch, okay? Meanwhile, Roosevelt's mother is hooking him up with some fifth or sixth cousin, young female, whose sole job is to entertain Franklin and get his mind off the affairs of the day, right?
or his affair.
And of course, she falls for him. Apparently, this is a true story that she died at like age 100 or something. They found her diaries under her bed, detailing every minute of this whole operation. So you've got the slimy, complicated side of FDR, right? And of course, you got his wife, who's got her own house where she lives with these lesbians who make furniture, and it lives a life like almost completely separate and apart from her husband, the President of the United States. And she's complicated, and certainly Sarah Delano Roosevelt is pretty complicated if she's running relative hookers for her son, who don't know they're hookers. But meanwhile, he's carrying on this careful balance of, the country is basically isolationist, England is being threatened, and he wants this alliance with England, but he plays it all.
He doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't.
Well, he does know how to.
He doesn't know how to get it over to the public.
Yeah. So they've invited the king and queen up for a good old-fashioned American picnic, and they're going to be serving hot dogs. and Elizabeth, the mother of the present queen, is horrified at what are these hot dogs, and do we really have to eat them, and all this stuff. And the king is saying, now, maybe meanwhile, they've put him in a room that's decorated with photographs of the Americans beating the crap out of the British in the War of 1812. So they don't know what the message is trying to be, whether they're being totally humiliated by the room and the hot dogs and having to sleep in the bed the lesbians made and all this stuff. Franklin just gets palsy-walsy with the king, and he says, the king brings, I don't know, the king or Elizabeth brings up the business about the hot dogs, and he says, don't read anything into it. This was Eleanor's idea. It's just, there's nothing. It's nothing. It's just what we do here when we have a picnic. Don't make it mean anything else. But in the end, the photograph of the King of England biting into the hot dog endeared him to the Americans, the American public.
Oh, yeah, because now he's one of us.
And the narrator, who was the fifth cousin friend of Franklin, says, it was at that moment that I realized it wasn't Eleanor's idea. The hot dogs were not Eleanor's idea. So it shows him as really the master politician that he was. But with these really dark, creepy side to him as well. Yeah, maybe our great people are complicated.
Well, I'm sure
they don't have to be. They don't have to be.
No, they don't have to be, but they seem to be complicated people.
Which
I toured Hyde Park a lot of years back, and if I remember, his bedroom was a small cubicle with just his bed and a nightstand in there, and I think there was a chair, a straight back chair. There was very, very simple, his bedroom, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, you probably do. That sounds right.
And then they had all his memorabilia in the living room, his chair, his wheelchair, and all of his other stuff.
I gather this must have been filmed at Hyde Park. Either that or they recreated it brilliantly. Really well done. Major. Want to hop in the car and go down there? I'll tell you, because the views were terrific, the whole atmosphere. Very well done movie all the way around. It's complicated.
Yeah. After we had gone to Hyde Park, we went to Culinary Institute, just up the road a little bit.
Ah,
And we had
a
dinner.
good meal? Did you have a good meal?
The meal was terrific. The meal was terrific. Walking the grounds, some kid comes running up to us. He says, I just had to, he had to bake a loaf of bread in the bakery, and you had to keep your own. He says, and I'm not going to eat this bread. He says, you guys want it? So he gave us a big long baguette of bread, so we were eating it, as we were.
Obviously, this was before you made your own bread as
Yeah.
frequently as you do now.
Then we went for dinner, and I said, well, I'm going to have a little espresso coffee. Comes out in a little cup, half full.
A half full espresso
Half
cup.
full. And I looked, and I looked at the waiter, and he just, and he gave me a slice of lemon to put in. $3.50.
Well, that's strong stuff.
It was a nice trip, though. It was.
I've never been down there. I look forward to it, actually, especially after seeing the movie. So, anyway, coming up next week, June 1st, that's next week, right?
Next week.
Next Saturday is the West End tour. I assume you'll be sitting out front selling lemonade or something, right?
Something, maybe some bread. I might
maybe some bread.
hook up
Right.
there.
Because, you're, imagine,
Well,
the home of Nicosia will be one of the
that'll be one of the highlights.
one of the highlights of the tour.
Doubt it. I kind of
Well, I guess they're going down Guy Park Avenue, pointing out where all the famous people live.
Nobody famous lived in my house
Until now.
until not. Well, yeah. That's only recent. That's recent history.
No, well, that's all right. You don't think that counts? Wow.
Not with the
I don't know what the plans are. I've contributed a couple of articles for the pamphlet that goes out this year. Those are nice souvenirs. This will be the third?
Third, I think.
Third, they did the downtown and Green Hill Cemetery tour.
And then they did
the South Side last year, which was really interesting. The weather was kind of lousy, but the tour itself was very interesting. I mean, I thought I knew everything, and I clearly didn't. And our contributing editor, Rob Van Hasselt, who, among other things, is a city historian, just did a marvelous job putting that together.
I gotta agree. He's very good at the historical.
Oh, here's a guy who knew nothing when he came to town about Amsterdam, and he's absorbed more than most of the natives, for sure.
Yes, that's right.
He was a very great help to me with my book, Where Do We Find Such Men?, which is the story of Amsterdam in World War II, available at the Bookhound downtown, at the Five Corners, at the Old Peddler's Wagon, and of course on Amazon. It's also available some other places online, but I get a good cut at Amazon, and the others I get next to nothing. So if you're going to order it online, order it from Amazon. It won't cost you any more. Well, if you really want it, you can go to my Create Space, get it directly from createspace.com, where I really get a big chunk, but it costs you more to ship it if you're only buying one. If you're buying 17, which I recommend, then you might be better off. Contact me and I'll give you a discount code. This is Mary's copy. It's the only one I have left. The new shipment is actually on the truck. It may be here before the show is over, in which case you'll finally get your copy. Mary's got her bookmark in here, and I've been following it to see how far along she's gotten, and she's on
Page 3?
No, she's actually on the acknowledgments page. I don't know if the bookmark means she's read the acknowledgement pages, but it means that she's at least read the dedication to my father and the quote from Ronald Reagan.
And she picked the book up, you know that.
And I know she picked the book up because she asked me to sign it. And I made a very...
Terrific book. Terrific book. I've talked about it so much that my wife can't wait to get the book in her hands.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully before you leave today, because it is on the truck. And the last time it came around this time, actually. But you can't tell. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but the fact that you can punch in the number on the UPS and follow it every step of the way. I just get, okay, where are my books now?
I used to do a lot of shipping with UPS, and I haven't done anything in probably 6 or 8 months because the company I was doing business with stopped ordering. I get a call last week. The guy insinuated that maybe I was shipping with FedEx.
And they wanted your business back.
He wanted my business back.
Oh, okay. So you didn't get a good call from your customer. You got a call from the delivery guys. Yeah. We can do better.
He wanted, what can I do to help you? I said, see if we get my business back.
Well, must be somebody else who needs that stuff. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure they're either doing it themselves or they're contracting with somebody closer to their plant.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's the way business goes.
This is those pad things?
Those pads, yeah.
Well, let me tell you, what did I use it for? It was really handy.
Yeah. Well, I
don't know whether I was cleaning something or smoothing something out or something.
Yeah, I had a bag of those scraps myself and giving them away. Finally, I went to look for some because I know how to use them.
No, you don't have it. It's like me. I don't have copies of my own book. I have to go to the peddler's wagon to get one of my own books.
So I had to call my son, and he brought me down a box of raw material instead of the cut up stuff. I said, oh, good. Because he was cutting them for me for a while.
Ah. And what is your source? His company?
No, I was getting them right from the manufacturer of the product, Norton.
You weren't cutting them yourself?
I was until I
really
hired my son to do it for me.
Really? Yeah. You're a man of many talents, Mr. Nicosia.
I try.
So I was kind of happy to see that the Common Council did not pass the bridge thing, but from the comments,
let me tell you.
I have no confidence that they're going to do the right thing.
Let me tell you something. Wednesday, they're going to pass it.
Yeah, you just know.
Right? I know it.
Right. Right.
I listened to the mayor the other night, and I listened to the questions, and there's no doubt in my mind when that guy gets done talking and the mayor gets done talking, they're going to pass it just the way it is.
And even if it's not just the way it is. Now, of course, we're talking about the maintenance agreement for the pedestrian bridge that doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. Even though the mayor is still saying it links Main Street to the, but I think she's planning on having the railroad station be the link to Main Street, or the intermodal transportation area, whatever they end up calling it. But
it's going to pass without a doubt. They had the guy on at the Common Council meeting, one of the engineers or whoever he was, and he explained a couple things to them, and boy, oh boy, they ducked under their tables.
In all the years that this project has been floating around, and I think we're going back to like 2004 at this point, right? So this was like 8 or 9 years that this project has been floating around. This is absolutely the first time that the government of the city of Amsterdam has been asked for their input on this, one way or another.
They weren't asked for their input.
Oh, they
asked for their input to be put in there. Yeah. This is the first time.
The first time that they've even cared what the government of the city of Amsterdam thinks about this. Of course, the mayor spoke for herself.
Yeah. Many weeks ago, Alderman Dybus asked for the contract. He wanted it in front of him. He wanted to read it.
Right.
They bring it up at a council meeting, and that's the first he's seen it.
Yeah. Amazing. Just amazing.
Of course, we have a dictatorship in the city hall. I mean, I haven't seen any resolution that has been put up by the mayor and her assistant, her co-mayor,
Yeah.
that has failed. I haven't seen any. They
Yeah, not in this term.
no.
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 And this next one, and the budget is supposed to be Wednesday. They're supposed to talk about the budget, I believe. Or no,
Are they voting on the budget?
no.
When are they voting on it?
They were supposed to have voted on it Tuesday.
But they didn't.
They voted. They put it off again because Alderman Dybus does not like the 3% or above the 3% in the water.
And as far as I can tell, there's been no legal justification given for it, has there?
No, other than they voted to override it.
But they can't vote. But they can't override it.
I know.
According to the terms of the charter amendment, in order for it to be overridden, it must be voted for by the public. Now, the Corporation Council is of the opinion that that's not a valid restriction, and we can ignore that. Baloney. That's the law. You follow it. If you don't like it, take it to court and get it overridden.
Exactly.
And if you think you're right, and he's not right, he's wrong because charter commissions have the authority to restrict the Common Council's ability to amend the charter.
That's why it goes to referendum.
That's right. So, you know, if they want to do this, we can always get a People's Charter Commission again and prevent them from amending anything in the charter. But anyway, that's they choose to ignore the law.
We'll have to bring this up again Tuesday on the radio on WCS and make sure that the people know it, and the people who are against the raise come forward, put their money where their mouth is, and we'll hire a lawyer to do what's got to be done. That's all there is to it. And I will be the first one to contribute to it.
Woo! Well,
My meager earnings.
well. Getting back to this bridge, we did it at some length on the last couple of shows, but it is so absurd. The council has it within their power to stop the absurdity now. The only time this has been before the Common Council in any way, shape, or form was a unanimous resolution of the Common Council rejecting the bridge and requesting that the state legislature put this money elsewhere, and then presented a whole list of things that they could do with some prices attached.
But the administration completely ignored it.
Completely ignored it.
The petition was supposedly sent to Albany.
It was, but because it was the toy of our local assemblyman, and you know, that's the way it just died there. But let's go through the proposals. First of all, we're spending $16.5 million for a bridge that nobody asked for, that doesn't connect really anything in and of itself. It connects Bridge Street with the north bank of the Mohawk River, period.
Period.
Now, you take that $16.5 million out and you substitute different projects for it. With that same money, for at most $1 million, you can make the existing Lock 11 dam bridge at Guy Park Manor a pedestrian bridge, okay? At most $1 million. Originally they were talking maybe $100,000, but with all the Americans with Disability Act and all that stuff, $1 million will get you across the river and connect the west end of Amsterdam with the bike path, with the old tow path along the Erie Canal, and a very lovely walking area, and connects you to the south side, right? Okay. Now, another $1 million would build you a grand boulevard along the river
Yes.
connecting Guy Park Manor with the Riverlink Park. A walking area that will stretch that whole length. The most expensive part is a couple of near the old bridge, and up to like the area across from the bocce court, where the railroad was moved in closer to the river during the arterial reconstruction some years ago, or construction back in the 70s. That would be the expensive part. That's why I'm throwing $1 million out as the total amount, because the rest you could do it in an afternoon. Believe me, from that point to Guy Park Manor, it's flat land with a couple of small creeks to be bridged, and that's it. But you could make, I picture along the Seine in Paris. You ever see American in Paris, where they're dancing to "Our Love Is Here to Stay"? Down by the river, something like that, with the stairs going up and all that. That would be beautiful. You could rehab the towpath and clean up that area, and have a similar walking area on the south side, connecting connecting your new pedestrian bridge with a better developed area. You could use that money to extend it around the south side, around where we now have demolished the Chalmers building. We could have a nice plaza there, connected with this new walkway, go under the current bridge, and continue down to the end of the city. In other words, really, both banks of the Mohawk in both directions.
Yes.
A couple $1 million tops.
Yep.
You then can connect that new walkway with footbridges that will take you to the two islands that are near the Riverlink Park.
Right.
Not to cross the river, because that's the barge canal there, but the islands are in the shallows. So you can easily connect those with footbridges, create new recreation areas out there, and on a summer night when you got a concert going on at Riverlink Park, it's a beautiful place to sit and watch the concert with the river and the sunset over the Mohawk and all that stuff. Okay? All right, now I've suggested putting in a little hydroelectric plant at Lock 11 and use that electricity to light these pathways. All right? Instead of the bundle we're spending to National Grid right now to light Riverlink Park, for example. It'd be nice, green and lovely, beautiful, fantastic, all right? And then you're going to have like $13 million left over. Mm-hmm. And you've got something really terrific. Yeah. And at that point, you give it back to the state and say, you know what? Why waste money on something stupid when you can have something really nice for a whole lot less?
Yes. Yeah.
And much nicer, much nicer. This new Mohawk Overlook Bridge, I'm sure it'll be a lovely bridge, but it doesn't give you any better view than you already have walking across the bridge that does connect downtown with the south side.
And I don't see where it is going to be economically valuable to the city.
Oh, it's total nonsense.
Yeah. Why? I don't know. But why isn't anybody? Even if people come to look at that bridge,
yeah.
Where's our economic?
All right. How many more pizzas are we going to sell?
Yeah, right. Well, they'll open another pizza joint. We got one in every corner now.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is okay because I love pizza. But
that's right. But really, to say that this would, even the recorder's drunk the Kool-Aid, because they mentioned that in their editorial yesterday, I think it was, or maybe the day before. I think it was yesterday. About the economic impact this is going to have. It's going to have virtually zero economic impact, other than a negative one, because we're going to have to pay to maintain it. I don't see where this impact is. The view is the same as the one from the bridge we had. So okay, so it's maybe it'll be prettier. Yeah, I mean, I'll admit that the Mohawk River Bridge, as it now exists, looks like it was built by the Soviet Union in its darkest age. But
the contract says, matter of fact, I mentioned at our last meeting, the only thing the state is going to maintain is the superstructure, the steel and the concrete bed.
Right.
Everything else the city's got to maintain.
Right.
And he said it at the meeting the other night. The city's got to maintain it.
And so the question comes down to why should the city agree to this? The city was never. This was never a city project.
No,
this was never billed as a gift to the city of Amsterdam. No. It was built as a Canal Corporation project. Okay, let the Canal Corporation take care of it.
It was thrown in.
It was entirely their decision what kind of bridge to build and blah blah blah. Not once did they go to the Common Council and say, if we build this kind of bridge, will you agree to maintain it?
It was throwing a bone to the upstaters in the Fulton Montgomery, and the Herkimer counties to vote yes on this bond initiative.
Yeah.
Because we were going to get the bridge, and that was going to be the whole thing. Vote for this bond issue because we're going to give you $16 million bridge.
Yeah.
And nobody in the area voted for it.
That's virtually nobody. That's true. Yeah. That's true. It went down very overwhelmingly. So you wonder, what the heck are they thinking? I mean, why should we do this in the first place, right? Let alone have the city now be stuck with it. There's no reason. There is no reason whatsoever for the Common Council to approve this contract. Just ignore it. Say, look, you ignored us all along. We ignore you. If you want to build a bridge, build a bridge. It's yours. Do with it what you will.
Is it going to stop the project?
I don't think it would stop the project. Why would it?
No, it's in the bond issue. How can they say no? Right?
Right. There's nothing in the bond issue that says the city of Amsterdam will take responsibility for this. Nowhere. The city has no obligation whatsoever to this bridge project.
They're saying that if the city doesn't approve this contract, it's going to hold up the project.
So? This is the same excuse or the same tactics they've used year after year. That's how the mall got passed.
Exactly.
Okay? We will not spend any more, we will not build any more arterials unless you put in that, the projects up at the Woodrow Wilson. If the Woodrow Wilson projects don't go in, you're not getting any more transportation aid. Oh, okay, you're not going to get them all. Oh no, we got to have them all. We're not going to have to spend any more money on urban. Oh, great. How many? I mean, in 1971 alone, we received something like $24 million in state and federal aid on all these projects. That was just 1 year. The money was just flowing in here. And what's the result? 40 years of socialism have shown us that what we have left is crap.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my rant. Are we watching the time here?
No, we got about 15 more minutes.
Okay, good. So that's all I have to say.
Well, the next, Regina is going to retire.
Yeah, that's in the. I see that the Chairman Emanuel was shocked by this announcement.
Oh, yeah. Give me a break.
How could he be shocked? We knew about it months ago.
Everybody in the city knew about it.
We even know who's replacing her. So.
And I read the glowing comments everybody had to make about her. How great she was. And what the hell did she do? Can you remember?
Don't blame me. I voted for me.
Yeah, I voted for you too. Well, let's see. So that opens up the field for Ron Barone.
Yeah, that should improve things.
That should improve things, and that leaves you and Stagliano fighting against Joe Emanuel.
Yes. When did I become a candidate?
Last week.
Oh, that's right. Vito nominated me. Then promptly said, "But Stagliano's the guy." I love those kind of endorsements. You'd be great at that job. But of course, we're going to back the other guy.
Yeah, but he's a Democrat and you're a conservative. So.
Yeah, well. So, you think Joe's going to run for that? Really?
I don't know. I don't know. I hope not, because I hate to vote against him again.
Well,
Saturday, Fort Johnson is going to have their reenactment or something up there. And
I saw something right up your alley.
Yep, they're going to bake some bread
and right up my alley. They're also making beer.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, but he's got a small oven.
But is there outdoors also, or
yeah, he's got a cover over it in the backyard. His is nice. It's on the bank, so he didn't have to build it up. He just built it on top of the bank. And
the creek bank, you mean?
No, there's a bank in the hill in the back.
Oh, I could do that back here.
Yeah. Yes, you could.
I always thought of putting a root cellar in out there, just because I got that hill right out the back door. You know, I got flat area and then the hill.
And that would be great.
I don't know what you do with the root cellar. Right?
You put roots in it.
I don't know. That's where you store your turnips?
Store all your vegetables and your beer.
I hate turnips. I hate rutabagas. I think. I know I hate turnips.
I've got a spot in my cellar that it was actually I put a back porch on the house. What I did was...
Oh, yeah, you doubled the size of your house. Right?
Well, I put a foundation under the porch when the porch was there.
Yeah.
So there was an area that is as big as the back porch in the cellar with its walls on all sides.
Yeah.
So all I got to do is dig out some dirt and I have a beautiful root cellar.
Do you use it?
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Maybe a wine cellar. I could put a wine cellar.
Well, I thought of that too, but I made some racks and I put them up in front. I don't have any wine in the racks.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, how many cases of wine can you store? You know, when would you drink them?
Well, I had quite a bit.
For the amount we drink here, you go to Cork Hill Liquor. Of course, they're closed. But, go to Cork Hill Liquor, grab a bottle, and you're done. Better yet, throw a party and everybody brings a bottle of wine.
But homemade wine is a lot better tasting than store-bought.
I had when we first got married, we had a little apartment in Albany, not walking distance from the law school, because I was still in law school at the time, and the landlord lived downstairs, and he was a little Italian. A little old Italian guy, and I saw he had the grapevines on this tiny lot he had, and I'm coming home from law school one day, and he said, "Bob, come here." He takes me and says, "Try this. I make myself." So I have. He gives me a glass of the wine he makes in the basement, and I said, "It was terrific." He says, "Now," he says, "try this store-bought." And he takes a bottle of store-bought wine, and it's so weak, it's like drinking dishwater after drinking his homemade stuff. And so I said, you use your own grapes here, Mr. Guido? Hell no, California. He goes down to the Port of Albany and gets crates of California grapes and made California wine in his basement in Albany. Yeah. And it was good.
I talked to my cousin last week up in Syracuse. He makes his own wine. And I said, "How much did you make?" He says, "It cost us $7,800 for the grape." I says, "What?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "And they delivered it." He bought it from
I would think for that kind of price, you should deliver it.
The importer. And
should come with a little old winemaker.
Yeah, well, they've got a group of guys that get together and they do it all themselves.
So they must make a lot then.
Yeah. Each guy probably makes 30, 40, 50 gallons each. Yeah,
so your unit price, if you make it yourself, you're not paying the taxes on it or anything, right?
No, you're not.
So it's got to be fairly cheap, I would think.
It cost me
Not you. What cost
Well,
it? Oh, yeah, right.
$60 for 5.5 gallons. So it's basically about $10 a gallon.
Yeah, well, that's good.
You know, so
Because you, yeah,
So it
you
gives you
could pay $10 a quart,
yeah,
probably.
$2 or $3 a bottle.
Yeah.
But it's a lot better. Oh God, my wife keeps asking, "How come you didn't drink any wine tonight?" I said, "I'm saving it."
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got.
You ever have dandelion wine?
You know, surprise! I've got a bottle sitting on in my wine rack. My son made it about 6-7 years ago, and every once in a while I'll take a little shot of it. Wow!
It's wonderful, isn't
Wow,
it?
yeah.
It's a sunshine in a bottle. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So it's.
You gotta decant it like 4 or 5 times, I think, along in the process, because it settles out. You know, the impurities settle out. But wow. Anyway, you know, it's something we have plenty of here too. Lord only knows.
You know, my son makes wine out of backyard grape. Mr. Cheka gives him some grapes. His buddy grows some, and whoever else gives him grape, he takes it home and makes his own with
Now,
it.
a lot of these homemade wine making kits, you get the fluid already squeezed, I guess, right?
I buy it already squeezed.
Yeah, yeah,
The juice, you buy the juice,
yeah.
which is easier. Buy the juice and you leave it in there for 40, 60 days or whatever you want, and it's all done.
Yeah, high school kids used to make balloon wine. You know, college kids.
Yeah. Same thing. You know, instead of the balloon on top, the jug, they've got airlocks. The air will come out and nothing
Oh,
will go back.
is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, just a little valve.
Yeah, it's a little valve.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, you're a talented man.
No.
You'd make a good pioneer. You know.
Yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with all those sons. You know, just send each one of them out to
They're
plow
more-
40 acres, and you can sit back and read the newspaper.
They're more talented than me.
Wow. Yeah, your kids do a lot of different things, don't they?
Yeah.
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 I had helped one of them put a hot water heater in yesterday.
Does anyone? No one ever buys a hot water heater on sale, right? Because you only replace it in an emergency.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Well, I did. One time, they had them on sale, and I knew mine was going, so I went down and I bought 2.
Really?
Yeah. I hooked one up. The other one sat in my cellar for about 6 years in the box. Finally, the one I had went bad. I just transferred it over. But I never see them on sale. I never see them on sale reasonable enough.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Now they've got to have piezoelectric lighters. So that means instead of paying $200 and some for the hot water heater, cold water heater, it's not heating up the hot water. Now they're up to $300 and some for just because they have to have that.
Yeah, but you're not running the pilot light all the time either, which has got to be some savings, I would think.
No, the pilot's on all the time. The pilot is on all the time
And then what's the electrical thing for?
to light the pilot.
Well, it can't be.
I'm telling you, it's
It's not all the time because you're using so much hot water. So it's those 20-minute showers that you take, those half-hour showers.
I got to look at it again. But
Yeah, because first, the one in the lighter in my stove went, and so I just keep one of those cheap propane cheap barbecue lighters that I get in the dollar store.
Yeah.
Keep those handy. It's
Yeah,
old. It's old-fashioned, you know.
keep one near
For a
my-
while, I was lighting matches.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Wow.
no, that pilot has to stay on. because if the pilot goes off, there's nothing. The spark, you have to make it spark to get the pilot lit.
Right.
And if that pilot goes out, you got to restart it with the spark. It's not an automatic spark. It's not like a furnace boiler.
No kidding. Well, then it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't to me, but that's the way it is.
Okay. That's your plumbing lesson for today, folks. Neither one of us have any idea what we're talking about.
No, well.
I did fix the old stove once. Of course, we've been here 30-some years. This may only be the second stove we've had, actually, in all that time. Of course, gas stoves
last forever.
Yeah, and they don't take much to repair. They're actually more complicated now with all this electric stuff than they used to be. But the old one, we bought for $25 when we bought the house, but they didn't tell us the oven didn't work. And which I didn't find out till 2 weeks later on Thanksgiving Day when...
Was it a gas?
Yeah, a gas stove. Yes, I know. How can that be? I'll tell you how it can be. I figured it out because it had a thermocouple.
Yeah, but that only...
It had a thermocouple that was not functioning properly. It wasn't shutting off. So they took the thermocouple out and had it hanging behind the stove, okay? So that it wouldn't light to begin with because the thermocouple wasn't present to regulate it.
Yeah.
So I put the thermocouple back in, and then of course the stove won't go off. So so you can't maintain. And I don't know what I just stumbled on the answer. It was some silly little thing in the switch. Where it regulates the degrees.
Yeah.
The dial. It had a dial, a mechanical dial, which my current one doesn't. It's got an electronic one. The mechanical dial just had a small piece of metal bent in it. I bent it back in place, and it worked perfectly for the next 15 years.
Wouldn't make a contact.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. They're gas stoves. I tell you, my son bought a house on the south side, and he's remodeling it. And before he moves in, he says, I got to get a new stove. I said, why? He said, one there's real old, this blah, blah, blah. And I went to look at it. I said, I'll tell you what. I says, see if I'll talk your mother into taking that stove. He said, why? I says, look at the size of those ovens. I said, you can't buy a stove with those ovens.
Right.
He said, you think I should keep it? I said, if it was me, I would. So he called the repairman. He went over and he says, make sure this thing is working properly. And it doesn't look great, but what an oven he's got. And he's all alone. So
yeah, we had trouble with this one a few years ago when we went to look to replacing it, and for a ridiculous amount of money, you could get a smaller one. I said, what the heck? I said, we're fixing the one we got because it's a better oven. When you're done with it, you got a hell of a lot better oven. I like the big ovens. I wish I had two of them, but I do all right.
Yeah, that's you make do with what you got.
Yeah. Right.
We got a 6-burner stove.
Ooh.
It's not big enough.
Well, not when you're feeding 48 people at a time, no. No, but that's when you have other people, What we did that Thanksgiving Day is we cooked the turkey at my mother-in-law's house and brought it over, maybe my mother's, I forget. So, we had my mother and my mother-in-law both had good ovens, and they brought stuff. And we ended up having Thanksgiving anyway. It's like, when the Grinch stole Christmas, it comes just the same.
Yeah.
Although, chewing on a cold, uncooked turkey might not have been palatable. But anyway, it's about time, right?
I think
we'll save the rest for the radio show. We'll just cut it short this week.
Okay.
I mean, we could talk about some other things, but what the heck? That's why they pay us so much money to do the radio. And we do this for free. Yeah, easy boy. Okay. Oh, I didn't give you your cut yet, all right?
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, on the way out,
Yeah, okay. All right. So, Bob going with Jim Nikosha. We'll be back with the radio show on Tuesday at about 10:04 a.m. on WCSS or WCSS1490.com.
Before we cut off, you know, we got to.
Oh, go ahead.
You've got to apologize to your listening audience. You didn't speak one bit about baseball today.
Well, there's a reason for that if you saw the game last night. Okay. So we'll be back next week with more of the show with No Name.